Hi friends, it's Kayla. Welcome to a new series on my channel where I listen to an audiobook and try to find a hobby. I love listening to audiobooks, and prior to now, the time that I allotted to do that was either while I was at my office job occasionally or on the commute to my office job. As we are in the unemployment era, I find myself with some more free time on my hands. And I want to start doing something creative or interesting or inspiring while I listen to audiobooks. Well, it was either commuting or it was lying in my bed mindlessly playing Farm Heroes. And like, am I proud to be on level 1195? Sure. But do I also think there's opportunity to find a hobby and something that I enjoy? Also, yes. When it comes to artistic pursuits, I, as an Aries and a type 8, very much do not want to try anything new unless I know I'm going to be good at it. And as a graphic designer, I love art, but I have never felt worthy of creating things with my hands because it never turns out the way that I hope it will. But I have to stop thinking about the end product and just enjoy myself in the moment. I don't have to be good at something to enjoy that thing. And I can share my journey with everyone, even if it's not perfect. I can do it. I can do it. I'm stepping outside my comfort zone here and just trying some new fun things. Starting with painting. I love painting and I'm not good at it. Did I need to buy a $150 paint set? No. Did I need to buy the fancy brush kit that I saw on TikTok? Oh no. Did I need to buy multiple different sketchbooks? A resounding no. It's not about the materials. An artist can create art with whatever means necessary. But am I going to pass up an opportunity to romanticize my own life? Another no. So this month we are painting and we're listening to the audiobook of White Magic. If you have any other, especially nonfiction recommendations and other artistic hobbies you would like me to cultivate, please leave them down below. This I just know is gonna bring me so much joy already. Look at them all. Liam's been eyeing these paints all week, so he's here to help me take all the lids off. And then you paint.
This one, and wait, did I say that one or this one?
This one, this one.
Those two.
Guess who got his own brushes? Just for Liam-y.
Yay!
I also got you the big sketchbook.
Oh, you got me the big one?
Yeah. So I've decided to check in with you every 5 days and every 5 pages into this. This is like my favorite thing. It's such a good size. I've been questioning like, okay, because first of all, I don't know what I'm doing. Besides a couple classes in like 11th and 12th grade art class, which mostly dealt with watercolor, like I've barely touched paints in my life, except for like buying cheap paint kits for Liam and us like painting together for an afternoon. So I feel like at this point I need to like look up I feel stupid, but like look up tutorials for like how to paint. Because at first I thought that this was too small because like my brush strokes are very large, and I was like, do I need a smaller brush? Do I need a bigger page? Like what isn't working here? Because you can see all of like my paint strokes and like globs of paint. But I just want to say like the quality of this is amazing. The pages are, this makes me so happy to pick up every day. It feels like such a manageable size. I will link this down below, as well as like everything that I talked about here. I have an Amazon storefront, which I do earn a commission from if you purchase anything, and that helps support my channel and able to pick up things like this for this video series. So I really appreciate if you check it out. But if you don't want to go that direction, you can just go there to find out what the name of the product is easily, and then you can like search it where else on the internet you can pick it up. I've really just been putting off opening this up because I'm not happy about it. But what I've realized is, okay, here's one. It's very basic, and this is the thing, is I've realized that I'm just trying to create like graphics, which is why I'm not completely happy with how it's showing up. I know you can't see like great detail. After this one, I started putting the paint strips down, which you might have seen. I feel so stupid showing this to you because it's like so basic, but this is my style. Like this, if I were to put a painting on the wall, this is what it would be. Like, not this, but something very minimal and something that could be created in Illustrator in like 10 seconds. I love sunsets and I love mountains, so they're all pretty similar. I looked out my window and I was like, oh wait, mountains get lighter the further away they are, so it really should have been dark, like dark, lighter. Mixed it up, no big deal. This one, the edges are just like killing me inside. But I also need to use water because I was basically just like taking a brush and like a big glob of paint and like trying to make a big thick line. I'm thinking about going to the art store and like buying some other interesting things because I love this. I just have to say, like, this is my favorite part of my day, is sitting down and just making something in half an hour and listening to half hour of my audiobook. I'm 23% of the way in. This is a book by Alyssa Washudo. It's not narrated by her. I do prefer nonfiction when it's narrated by the author, but I am still really enjoying the audiobook experience. Oh, also, Libro FM just started an affiliate program as well. So if you haven't signed up for Libro FM and you feel like supporting an indie bookstore with your audiobooks, it's really similar to Audible, where it's like a monthly fee and a monthly book, but then you can pay for more. And I think anybody can sign up for the referral program, where like if you have somebody sign up with your link, you can get a free book, so you can use that for your family members if you want. And then also, if you are like a bookstagrammer, booktuber, book talk, or anything like that, there's also an ALC program, which is like ARCs, where you get books early, but you get audiobooks early. They give you a selection like every month, and they're actually really good options. Anyway, again, if you want to support my channel, the link is down below. Okay, here's my third one. This one I did different colors. My favorite part is definitely peeling the painter's tape off after, but also the mixing of colors. Like, I love making my own colors. I think for this one I used a little bit more water, so I didn't hate it as much, and I actually really like these colors. This is my favorite color combo, is like greens and corals, or blues and corals. Here's my next one. This one's probably my favorite, but I also like got inspired by this design elsewhere. I've never really fully come up with my own concepts and enjoyed the final product. I did do this one, which was my concept, and then I hated it so much that I just covered it all up in white after, because I was really disappointed with myself. I know it's very basic, but what I want to try next is, like, my skies always have a white background, because I wasn't sure if this could handle like multiple layers of color. Like what I saw with the cactus is I could see the hills behind it, but my next goal is like painting the entire page one color and then painting something over it. Also, my next goal is like adding other things besides just big blocks of color, like shading, highlighting, using more than just one brush per page. When I look at other people's artwork, I'm realizing that like part of the joy of it is seeing brush strokes, like seeing the, and what I'm realizing is like I have to decide what I want it to look like. Like I have to choose, do I want this style or this style? Do I want to show small strokes, or do I want it to blend like a gradient? Like it never occurred to me that you have to actually decide what you want your style to look like. Like it's not just you have an ingrained style. I just thought everybody picked up a paintbrush and like whatever style came naturally to them, like that's how they would paint. So I'm probably still gonna do a couple more mountain, sunset, landscape situations and try to just do a little bit more with it. As far as the book goes, it's a collection of essays, which I think is awesome because then I can like wrap up at the end of an essay rather than just like at the end of a chapter or whatever. It's helping me organize when I listen and when I paint in my day. And the stories are starting out really heavy right from the jump. She is an Indigenous woman who is telling her like life story and also just sharing lots of perspective on like land ownership and colonization, and navigating so many different conversations regarding bias and assumptions and like prejudice that her entire community faces. I've read a few memoirs this year. I don't know where this one sits as of yet. I've never read anything from her before, so I always love just hearing a perspective and about somebody's experiences. So going well, and I'll check in with you in another 5 days with 5 paintings. Okay, I'm gonna talk through this next group of 5. So first I started out with my typical mountain situation, but I saw this picture and I wanted to create the same shape because I thought it was really cool. So it's pretty much the same mountain picture I've been doing, but it does get lighter the further away the mountains are. And then I added a little bit of like shading and highlights to the mountains and to the sky. So this is the final version of that one. I'm continually feeling silly for like showing these off. Next up, Liam and I have been painting a lot together, and we've been doing this like random generator online, and it gave us a cuttlefish. So we've been doing this outside of the painting book that I have, but this one I decided to do in here. I'm still not technically done with it. I want to create like, you know, the sun rays coming through the water and like doing some more to it, but this is what it looks like now. I think the reason I feel silly is because it feels like I'm trying to be like, look how cool these are, but actually it's just like, here's my hobby. I don't think it's just wait, just hold on. It gets better and then it gets worse. Okay, but then I got really excited about doing one full color as the background. So I started out with this pink one. This pink shade is so pretty. And then I put, I actually don't even know what this plant is called, but it's like every bitch in 2020 bought one of these like Monstera or Montera, something like that plants. And I like this one. I'm still definitely not comfortable like creating backgrounds or like a full like scene. I'm not completely happy with it because like the way that they were layered in the photo I was looking at, I just couldn't translate onto here. But anyway, this is my leaf. Leaves. And then the next color I mixed was this really pretty blue, and I decided to do a peach. These two I was trying to do like a showing my brush strokes, creating something that looks like art, like looks like a painting. I don't know how to explain what I'm trying to say, but I was really happy with the final result of this one, but I did just get too gung-ho with the shading, and there were good like brush strokes that made it look like I was coming up with some type of style, and then I just got too obsessive with it, and it ended up just being like a kind of more gradient vibe where all the colors blend into each other a lot more than just I intended. So after this one, this is where I feel okay about the video, because at this point I haven't hated anything that I've done, and I'm starting to like feel weird about this video. But then, like I said, my favorite part is blending colors, like coming up with colors, and I just wanted to match one of my favorite bullet journals. I didn't do a great job, but I made this green, and then I also wanted to match like my favorite cushion and do a kind of like terracotta copper one, so I also did that. And then for the green one, I grabbed my cactuses. My original plan, I brought out those cacti in one of the first clips you saw because I was originally gonna do a cactus picture, and then I got too scared, and this is why. Because I was like, I'm really gonna do it. I'm just gonna like, I don't know how to explain it, but like when you're holding a paintbrush, like you blend it, or you can just bop, bop, bop. Anybody who's ever held a paintbrush before is like, yeah, are you okay? I need to take some kind of course on painting. If I was smart, I would have integrated like a sponsorship with Skillshare or something. You know, an idea for the future. 99% of me doesn't even want to show you this, but you know, flowers just never come out the way I want them to. And I know this isn't flowers. It was supposed to be cacti, but it does look like flowers. And I thought like this was going to be my transition to being able to create flowers. Like I was planning having this conversation with you about how I can't draw flowers. But yeah, I definitely am realizing I don't have any skills with whatever you would call what I'm struggling with. So I guess that's 5. But with this like bronzy copper page, I want to do, my goal was to do something white, but I ran out of white paint. So I need to go pick some up. But now I'm worried about like what type of paint to buy, because I can't just go buy a white acrylic because there's so many different like versions of white acrylic and like what's going to match the type of paint that I'm using. I figure that out. But I do have some white paint pens that I've never used. My goal was to make flowers because I thought I would move from the cactuses to the confidence to do flowers. I'm not there yet. We'll just do this together. And then I'm gonna transition into a fruit series. I'm gonna listen to more of the audiobook, and then I'm actually going to play for you a section of the audiobook to see if you like it, in case you're considering picking it up. And then we'll see how my fruit goes. Okay, here's the final flower situation. Not technically painted because I used paint pens, but I really just needed to get rid of this page. Maybe I'll try a couple different styles with the fruit series. Let's see. Listen to my audiobook for a second while I show you what I'm up to.
The internet says nobody will love me until I learn to love myself. But the internet never gives instructions. I told myself, I love you, but I was thinking, you're the worst. Nothing would change my mind. What a terrible impasse. The bookstore self-help section, though, said something different. Nobody will love me until I engage in sequential self-exploration exercises. Harville Hendrix's self-help book for wounded singles says there is a riddle wrapped around my heart. I have a highlighter, a composition book, and a pen. I have time. I do not have any better ideas. The self-help book says the brain turns all that has happened to us into points. From the points, it makes patterns. The book says the collected memories are like pixels in a digital image we store of the only person we believe can close the wound. The last few years have been like this. A cord of twined images of white boys with plastic glasses and plaid shirts and bad posture, and 2/3 full pints on outdoor bar tables.
My update this time is that I've gotten paint on multiple parts of my brand new couch, so that's great and really just not surprising if you know me. So where we're at with the book is I have the library book now. I grabbed the physical book because I'm not actually loving the audiobook compared to the physical reading experience. I had this reserved longer than the audiobook, and so it just like already came in, and I picked it up and I read a couple portions, and it's much more like organized than it feels like listening to it. A lot of things just kind of bleed together when you're listening, but reading it physically, there's like specific sections, and it's not just a big block of text. Like, it's very enjoyable to read physically. So I've actually been listening to a couple different audiobooks. I'm reading everything for the horror Goodreads awards right now, so I've been listening to a couple other audiobooks. I'm not going to review those. I'll continue to review this, and I might listen to a little bit more. But my favorite sections, I went back through and marked my favorites. So the best part of this so far has been the spirit corridor, where she's going through different, like, it starts out with the riddle that's like there are 2 guardians and one can only tell the truth and one can only lie, and you have one question to ask them. And then it goes through this just idea of different mystical doorways, and all of the conversations being had in here, I just really appreciate. I love media that references other media. That's one of my favorite things. So she's really diving into a lot of different things. A lot of this is talking about really tough things she's gone through in her life, including a bunch of different like relationships that she's had. And there was this one portion I felt was really strong. She was talking about like the impact that abuse has, and I feel like a lot of people will resonate with the idea of after moving on from an abusive relationship, you kind of take on the qualities of that person because you're so used to being hated and manipulated, that you almost start doing it to yourself. And there's a lot of self-love you have to find your way back to after leaving that type of experience. The other really strong whole section, like you can see how there's darker pages that break up the book into different concepts. Where did it go? The most impactful one for me has been rocks, caves, lakes, fens, bogs, dens, and shades of death, which is intense. And I marked a part that talked about like Friday the 13th, the realism of horror movies, and like the land getting revenge. For my paintings, I did my fruit thing. I wanted to do a couple different styles, so I guess I already showed clips of doing this, but this one I wanted to do grapefruit, but my grapefruit wasn't really colorful, so I just made up the colors and it looks kind of more like a blood orange. But we have that one, and then I also wanted to do apples in just, I always love art that is colorful and almost abstract, and then with like pens with whites and blacks, people like define it with those. I think that looks really cool. This is not, you know, my favorite thing I've ever painted, but it's there and it's part of my journey. And then I did a banana with a reflection. That was the goal of that. The one that I actually like is my avocados. I'm happy with my avocados, and I figured out how to like make a textured background without hating it. But my problem has been, I also have a blackberry cheesecake with the same like textured background. I don't think I'm ready to paint like full out backgrounds, or how to even figure out how to do that. But my problem has been like references, because I have the thing in real life, like I had my avocados, but I wanted like a little cleaner of a looking avocado. And then I look up like one photo, one image. It happened with my cheesecake thing too. And then without even realizing it, I start just emulating that image, which is like fine, because I'm not selling these. I'm not trying to make a career out of these paintings. They're just for me. And so it's fine to have reference material. Even if I was copying like every single little detail, like maybe that's how people learn and whatever. But with this one, I was looking at different reference photos because like the shadow on my table wasn't creating the type of shadow that I wanted. So I looked up like a shadow avocado picture, and without like realizing it, I ended up picking like the exact same background color and making the shadow like almost identical, when that wasn't my goal. It was just like got stuck in my head because I was sitting here for a while thinking like, what color do I want to make the background? And I was considering all the different colors and how the contrast would be, and I kept getting stuck with like, the only thing that would look good with this is this type of blue. And then after I looked back on the picture, and it's like the same. Anyway, I'm currently working on a series. I wanted to do my next 5 as just something that was cohesive, because I was talking to Rob about like, what makes you decide to put up a piece of art in your house, and nothing that I've created feels like something I would want to put on a wall. So like, what makes something wallable? And what I was thinking was, I always see these little like collections that you can buy of like 5 pieces that all go together but kind of go together. They have a similar like color scheme. So I came up with a color scheme. I mixed the colors, and then I keep having to come back and like add water to them. I ran out of saran wrap, or I would have wrapped it up. Oh, by the way, Rob got me a couple new palettes because my other one broke. You might have noticed. I mixed all of these, and then I was going to paint them all in one day, but then they needed time to dry, so I've just been rehydrating my paints, and it's been working okay. And I've just been creating 5 different things that are like the mountains I've already made and the things I've already made, but I want to see if I can make them go together and feel cohesive. But then I hated one of the ones I did. So I didn't film any of these because I did them while I was doing live shows, but as soon as I wrap them up, I will show you. And then the next 5, I'm thinking I just want to challenge myself to do some things. So I want to do a grayscale. That's like, I'm going to give myself 5 different challenges. I want to do a grayscale painting because I think it would be really fun to have to do different shades and only be able to show it in shades. I want to do like a person. I want to do flowers. I want to like a flower thing that I do, because there's nothing more that I want than to paint flowers and actually enjoy them. So that's my challenge, I guess, is flowers I don't hate. And then I want to do something with a lot of detail, like fine line work, because I find that the most fun when I have to like go in and do something tiny. So I think I'm gonna paint like some books, and then I'm gonna challenge myself to do a scene. So it can still be like an item. I'm imagining something like fruit on a table, but then like just some, like at the table, or something on the wall, or like a sink in the background. Like I just want some type of scene, but I don't want to look up reference things. I need to start painting from my own mind, but I really struggle with that because there's nothing like in my house that I would want to paint. So I need to look up a photo, but I don't want to copy a photo, but that's what I'm probably gonna end up doing.
No, not to it. No, I don't need the trouble. I can't think straight, can't concentrate. Feels like I'm seeing double. You're on my mind, deep in my head. I think you're taking over me. Do you feel it now? What I told you about, do you feel it now? Knowing no rain won't make a change, won't fold your boldest value. This love I hope's not growing up. Still I swear that I'm up for you. Runs in our blood for better good. And I know why you're beside me. I can feel it now, what you told me about. I can feel it now.
It's funny because if you had asked me a week ago, I would have told you that this video series was like already a flop, because I feel like I've discovered something that I love doing while I listen to audiobooks. And like the whole point of the series was to try out a different artistic thing, do each one for like a month. But a week ago I was like, oh no, like I love painting. Like this is just what I'm gonna do now. And I'll have to cancel the whole series because like this is it. But now a week later I'm like, I'm good. Like I don't want to paint anymore, and it's probably like a burnout thing. I have not picked up the paintbrush once without actually wanting to. Like I have wanted to paint every single day for the last, technically it's been like a month and a half, but I always picked it up when I actually wanted to, which I think is important, not like forcing myself to do something. But yeah, I feel like I'm kind of over it right now. I'm not gonna say permanently or anything. I still like, I keep buying all of this stuff. That's why I was like, this is my new hobby. Like I found this brush holder, I've been buying new brush sets, I've been buying dotting tools, I've been buying different palettes. I'm really excited about the idea of doing different painty things. Like this isn't going to be the only paint based one that I do, because I'm also realizing that some of the things that I want to create would actually best be done with like a different medium. Anyway, this is what I did for my like themed, this one I actually quite like, the one where I wanted to make a theme of images. I have a rainbow, this one that I think is cute, and this one that I don't love, and it's kind of unfinished. But like the idea was, if I were to do a room, let me just find like a stock photo of our room and I'll put all my pictures together and you can see what the gallery wall would look like. And that was my goal, was to make like cohesive images but not too similar. Anyway, I think that looks fine. And then after that, I told you I wanted to do the challenges. So I don't like any of these, but that's okay. So the first one is of Liam. It's the black and white. It's a person. I ran out of black paint and I had to go buy more. You know what I actually really need to challenge myself to do is not use too much paint, because that's something that that's just what I do. I'm a too mucher. I'm a do too mucher. I'm a use too mucher. I'm always going to do the most. So ran out of black paint. I don't know. And then my vase of flowers, I think it's fine. Do I love any of the flowers? No. So did I accomplish my goal? No. But it's a jar and it happened. Next is my stack of books. I wanted to do a stack of books. I was originally going to do like my favorite books, but then the colors didn't go together. And then I was like, I should do a stack of all my favorites from last year. But then some of the spines were too detailed. So what I ended up doing is finding ones that were like the colors went together and there wasn't too much detail, like a face or something crazy on the spine that I couldn't recreate. I've drawn lots of stacks of books in my bullet journal, so this was just a painted version that I'm not going to do anything with this, so that's why it feels kind of pointless. Then for the one where I created a scene, I decided to do my childhood home. Why? I don't know, because I just needed a reference point and I looked it up on Google Images. And I made it like different because the angle isn't great in the photo and like the trees aren't exactly perfect and there's like no bushes and grass in the front. But I made it like how maybe I could romanticize my childhood home to look like. Yeah, I don't like it, but I see people doing these. They're called like house portraits and people give them as gifts. I would never gift someone a painting from me, but I think it went okay. And then lastly, I love water. This one really flopped for me because I just don't think you even look at it and can tell what it is. It's supposed to be the ocean and it's the beach, and like it gets darker. You know, the tide has come in, the waves come in and left, so it's a little bit darker and it fades, and then I added footprints through the sand. I just don't think I really grasped how to make the water look like water. Again, I should have looked up tutorials. I think I created too many different layers and waves. I looked at a couple different like reference photos, but this is what happens when it comes to making my own and not like copying someone else's and figuring out where the shadow is supposed to be and then the white part is supposed to be. If I don't copy it exactly and I come up with my own, it just doesn't look like the thing at all. Anyway, the last 5, I'm just gonna do some like holiday, winter, Christmas type stuff. I don't know what that's gonna be. For my last wintry painting, I thought I would do it, at least part of it, on camera. I don't know how to get everything in shot. I guess you don't need to see my coffee, but normally when I'm painting it's at like midnight, and I definitely don't want to be on camera. The lighting isn't great, and I feel like what I'm creating is more interesting, but as I'm editing this, I'm like, you're just watching me move my hand for 10 minutes, and I don't know if that's is that what this video series should be? I don't know. Should it be me? Should it be what I'm making? Anyway, today we're going with a classic Bob Ross. I'm just gonna follow along with the tutorial. There's a couple that I'm trying to choose between. He has so many, like winter, portrait of winter, splendor of snowy winter, winter's grace through the winter. This might be a bad idea because I don't have the tools that he has. I'm using different paint and different like everything, so this was gonna be a disaster, but that's okay.
Just use a very limited palette today. By that,
Clearly.
honestly, mean it's just very few colors to do this. Mostly just blue, black, and white. And then let's just take a little bit of this phthalo blue, and we'll just start in like this, making little. And we'll just start in like this, making little X's, little crisscross. But I'm going to start and work outward so it gets larger. Not like cat. There. But basically that's all we're looking for. But the paint goes on very easily because we have the liquid white on here. Here on the very end, we'll just go into black.
Oh, we're already at the end.
There. There is a little blue on the brush, so it'll mix with the black we put on there.
For sure. Painting is so therapeutic. Oh! Huh? You know, maybe it's good that you're this far away from me because you can't really see what's going on, and that, like, maybe it looks okay.
Round and around. Here we go. There we are. See? That's all there is to it.
Got it.
And just begin working it outward.
Okay.
It's almost the color of the sky, so you really have to sort of study and find it. This is going to end up being just the indication of little hills that far away, way back in the distance. Now we can take a 2-inch brush and grab that.
Sorry about the lighting. I can't sit on the floor anymore. My battery died and my memory card was full at the same time, so I had to go charge them, take everything off the memory card. And while I was doing that, I thought I would listen to the last 10% of this. I still have the audiobook. So while I was doing that and making the thumbnail for this video, I was listening to a bit more. And then I had to flip through the book to find the place that I was at. And she's talking about Bob Ross. Like, is that not so weird? I was just doing my thumbnail and suddenly she was like, something about Bob Ross, and I was like, what'd you just say? So I found the page and she's talking about this relationship with Carl, who she hates but can't stay away from. And she says, on the couch I've been asking him to tell me what he's thinking, but he'll just say things or nothing or I don't remember, while he drinks hard cider and we watch Bob Ross showing us stroke by stroke how to make a bunch of dots and lines into the illusion of a world. I don't think any other like artist or anything has been mentioned in here, so it's just weird. If you're really into Twin Peaks or the Prestige, you should pick this up because it also talks a lot about that. And I love when books reference media, but I haven't consumed that media, so I feel like you get more from it if you had more points of reference. Anyway, I'm getting back into my painting. Here's where we're at. I don't want to talk about it. The thing about this content is it encourages critique and tips and tricks, but is there paint on my chin? By the time you share that with me, I'm gonna be on to the next like thing anyway. And I knew this wasn't gonna go well. It was just a fun, silly way to end it, but it's going worse than I thought it would. Anyway, let's wrap it up and then I'll go over all of my winter art. I'll finish the audiobook and we'll wrap it all up.
Right in front of this mountain, maybe there's a little stand of trees. Or a little grouping of trees. There. I like it. Then we can take our 2-inch brush and very gently blend this and smooth it all out. The corner. And begin working down. I think we'll pop in a little evergreen tree that lives right here. Right there. Good. You're doing yours. You decide how many highlights you want on your tree.
Okay.
Maybe you want them brighter. Maybe you want to leave them darker.
No, I hate it. Okay, I I did it. I completed my goal of listening to one audiobook and 1 month, more than a month worth of a new hobby. It feels right that my last day of painting is the one where I end up with paint in my hair. For how clumsy of a person I am, it's pretty surprising that I didn't have more disasters take place. I got a lot of paint on my legs, but that was more because sometimes I didn't have anything to wipe my brush on and I would just wipe it on my leg. I had one time where I spilled not even my entire water cup, but like half of the water cup all across the floor. And then there was one time that I splattered white paint all over the floor. And then there's the couple splotches on my couch, but like that's it. Overall, I just have to say this is like the best thing I've ever done for myself. Not to over exaggerate, but this is exactly what I needed. I got exactly everything out of it that I wanted. Let me show you my winter paintings. Here's a snow globe of the local ski hill. Here are wreaths that I'm actually like really weirdly happy with. And I kind of want to paint more of these and turn them into holiday cards for like next year. I also did a charcuterie board because I was making a charcuterie board and it just seemed like a good choice. And I was like, this is holiday-ish if I put some rosemary on it. Then I did a hot chocolate mug with a gingerbread man, just because I wanted something simple and cute. And then we don't really need to talk about this one. I really could have put more effort into it, but I just wanted to do it in the 15 minutes that I was watching Bob Ross. And that's just what we ended up with. And not everything, well, nothing in here is perfect. Nothing needs to be perfect. This just makes me so happy how stuffed full this is and how messy it is. I have felt challenged. I have felt creative. I have felt proud of some of the things that I made, disappointed in some of the things that I made. And I just feel like this is a cool thing for me to have and to look back on and know that sometimes I can do shit that's just for fun and doesn't need to be great and doesn't need to have some big goal by the end of it. It's always weird, I'll say it time and time again, just doing one video where there's one book mentioned and not liking that book is the worst case scenario, because there's not like a positive and negative, there's not like some good note to end on, there's not. This was not for me. I'm not going to say it's not a good book, it's just not what I'm looking for when picking up a book like this. I still think a lot of people will like this, and the Goodreads reviews, like there are glowing reviews of this book. I prefer my memoirs to be like half and half personal anecdotes and stories and experiences, and then 50% like on a topic, information, knowledge, like sharing something about a topic. And that's what I thought I was getting going into this. You know, it talks about magic and it touches on so many topics, but far too briefly. Like I wanted more about astrology, more about traditions, more about, what did it phrase it as, cultural inheritance, more about magic and the idea of whitewashed traditions and objects. But overall it became really one note and all about the same relationship the entire time. I think there's nothing wrong with writing about like what you're currently going through and what you want with your life, but there was no way for me to know that that was the perspective, and it wasn't like after the fact and after a lot of learnings and like reflecting on what she learned and what she wants to teach people. That's not what it is. I feel like this is a much more cathartic journal-like experience where she just works through a lot of her struggles, and her struggles are real and many, and she's very honest. And I think it's brave to put something like this out there that is essentially your personal diary. But in the end, for me, it was too messy, too much without direction and different topics, and a lack of reflection that is what I look for in a memoir. And that's it for this episode. Let me know what you want me to do next time. I'm not abandoning painting. I didn't buy all of these things to never touch them again. I actually am ordering a second one of these because I ended up really liking this size. And there's so much more that I could do with painting, and I think this was a good place to start because it's the most mindless. I didn't really have to learn anything going in. Every other kind of craft that I have in mind requires an introduction. So I think the actual reading itself and audiobook listening will be later in the process. But let me know what you want me to try. Let me know what you want me to listen to if there's been an audiobook that you've been curious about. If there's any nonfiction now that I've kind of explored more of what I'm looking for in a memoir, maybe you can give me some recommendations and advice. And I will see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.